In this episode, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of gestures and how they can supercharge our thinking and communication skills. It's like unlocking a hidden superpower, Lily.
Absolutely, Sophia. It's more than just waving your hands around. It's about harnessing the power of embodied cognition. Think of it this way. Our bodies aren't just vessels for our brains. They're active participants in the thinking process.
I love that. Embodied cognition. It sounds so intellectual, but seriously, it's amazing how much our physical actions can influence our mental processes. We're talking about boosting creativity, problem solving, and even memory, all with a few strategic hand movements.
Precisely, and the research is there to back it up. Studies have shown that gesturing can improve verbal fluency, reduce speech disfluencies like and and even help us learn new concepts more effectively.
So it's not just about looking more animated when you talk, it's about actually thinking better.
Exactly. Imagine you're trying to explain a complex idea. Using gestures can help you organize your thoughts spatially, making it easier to articulate them verbally. It's like your hands are helping you sculpt the idea into a communicable form.
That makes so much sense. It's almost like our gestures are an external manifestation of our internal thought processes, kind of like a window into the mind.
Spot on. And it's not just about how we think, it's also about how we communicate with others. Gestures can add emphasis, clarity, and even emotional depth to our spoken words.
It's like adding punctuation to a sentence, but with your hands. A well-placed gesture can really drive a point home.
Absolutely. Think about how a speaker might use a sweeping hand gesture to indicate a large scale or a precise pinch to highlight a specific detail. These movements add layers of meaning that words alone can't convey.
So, are there specific types of gestures that are particularly effective?
Absolutely. Researchers have identified several categories of gestures, each with its own unique function. Iconic gestures, for instance, resemble the object or action being described. Think of miming holding a steering wheel while talking about driving.
I do that all the time. I guess I'm a natural gesturer then.
Then you have metaphoric gestures, which represent abstract concepts. For example, holding your hands up as if weighing two options can symbolize making a decision.
Interesting. So it's not just about physical objects, it's about representing abstract ideas as well.
Exactly. And then there are deictic gestures, which are used to point or indicate something. Think of pointing to a chart during a presentation or using your hand to direct someone's attention.
Right, those are the directional gestures. So using a combination of these different types of gestures can really enhance our communication.
Precisely. And it's not just about the types of gestures, but also the timing and coordination with speech. Research has shown that gestures typically precede the spoken words they relate to, almost as if the body is paving the way for the verbal expression.
That's fascinating. It's like our hands are giving a sneak peek of what our mouths are about to say.
Exactly. It's a beautiful example of the mind-body connection in action. Now let's delve into some practical tips for incorporating gestures effectively into our communication. One key tip is to be natural and authentic. Don't force your gestures, let them flow organically with your speech.
That makes sense. No one wants to look like they're performing a choreographed dance routine while they're talking.
Exactly. Another tip is to be mindful of your audience and the context of the conversation. The types of gestures that are appropriate in a casual conversation with friends might not be suitable for a formal presentation.
Right. You probably don't want to be doing jazz hands during a board meeting. Although, that would be pretty entertaining.
Haha, perhaps not the most professional approach, but on a serious note, being aware of your audience and context can help you choose gestures that are both effective and appropriate.
So it's about finding the right balance between expressiveness and professionalism.
Precisely, and practice makes perfect. The more you consciously incorporate gestures into your communication, the more natural and effortless it will become.
So it's like any skill, the more you practice, the better you get.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about some of the exciting implications of this research. Understanding the power of gestures can have a profound impact on various fields, from education to public speaking to even therapy.
That's a broad range of applications. Can you elaborate on how gestures can be used in these different contexts?
Certainly, in education, Teachers can use gestures to enhance their explanations and make complex concepts more accessible to students. Imagine a teacher explaining the solar system using hand movements to represent the planets orbiting the sun. It's a much more engaging and memorable way to learn than simply reading about it in a textbook.
Absolutely, it brings the lesson to life. And what about public speaking?
Well, effective use of gestures can make a speaker more engaging, persuasive, and memorable. Think about charismatic speakers who use their hands to emphasize key points, connect with their audience, and convey emotion. Their gestures amplify their message and make it more impactful.
It's like adding a visual soundtrack to their words.
Exactly. And in therapy, gestures can provide valuable insights into a client's emotional state and thought processes. Therapists can observe a client's gestures to understand their underlying feelings and identify potential areas of conflict or trauma.
It's like a nonverbal language that can reveal hidden emotions.
Precisely. Now let's shift gears and explore the fascinating intersection of gestures and technology. With the rise of virtual reality and augmented reality, there are incredible opportunities to leverage gestures in new and innovative ways.
That sounds exciting. Can you give us some examples?
Absolutely. Imagine using hand gestures to interact with virtual objects in a VR environment, or using augmented reality overlays to provide real-time feedback on your gesture performance. The possibilities are endless.
It's like stepping into a science fiction movie.
Exactly. And the potential benefits are enormous, from improving communication skills to enhancing learning experiences to even providing therapeutic interventions. The power of gestures is truly transformative.
So, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the science behind gestures to their practical applications and future possibilities. Any final thoughts you'd like to share, Lily?
Just this. Don't underestimate the power of your hands. They're not just for holding coffee mugs and scrolling through your phone. They're powerful tools for thinking, communicating, and connecting with the world around you. So go forth and gesture your way to success.
I love that. And on that note, folks, it's time to wrap up this episode of Hand Talk. Until next time, keep those hands moving and those minds thinking. And remember, if you're ever feeling lost, just gesture wildly. You might accidentally stumble upon a brilliant idea. Just kidding. Mostly. This conversation